I don't know what just happened. Had to look at my thing like, what in the world? But anyways, hey, so I woke up like at 4 this morning and couldn't go back to sleep. And all I could keep hearing in my head was, you wanted to grow up so bad. And I remember being in high school and thinking I was an adult. Adult. I paid for my own car, paid for my own car insurance after a while, bought my own clothes, could go grab food on my way to work. I mean, I thought, I don't need my parents, never considering that it was because they were putting a roof over my head. There were certain situations that they took care of that didn't allow me to see, okay, I'm still a kid. And I wanted so bad, just, I want my freedom. I want out of their house. I want to get to do what I want to do. I don't want to be told what to do anymore. I don't want to have to ask permission. And I remember my mom kept saying, slow down, enjoy being a kid. You have the rest of your life to be an adult. And I was like, I'm not worried about that. I'm ready to go out and enjoy the world, right? And it's funny because my kids are doing the same thing. But of course, their life has been completely backwards from probably any kid in the US. They grew up having to help hang clothes on the line outside, and some days helping me wash them in the bathtub, and just different things. I did play with them, but they didn't have playmates. They didn't go to school. They've always been unschooled by me, homeschooled. But I don't know, it hit me about how hard I made it for my parents, how they had to watch me struggle in a sense because I was so determined, that this is my life. I'm going to do what I want. I'm going to live it how I want. And I just urge you that spend that time with your kids because man, it flies by. It looking at my kids, my mom even said it when I was having my hard time the other day. It's like they just came home from the hospital, and I was like, I know, right? And here they are. One's ready to go out and conquer the world, and the other one's going to start going to public school. These are things that I wasn't ready for. And I now understand no parent is, you know, no parent is ready to no longer have their child in their home where they can laugh together, um, talk together, just spend that time, you know? Like my son and I have been walking because I used to walk all the time. So I started walking with him again. And I told him yesterday, it's almost like parents have to understand what it feels like to lose that child, letting them go out into the world, right? For them to understand how the child is going to feel when the parent is gone. And it's almost like to understand the processing of grief. And by understanding it, maybe being able to help them cope with it a little better before they have to endure it, you know? Because I haven't felt that big of a hole in my heart. And it's funny because he's not gone, he's still here. But it's all of that was like Braxton Hicks. If any of you know about Braxton Hicks, is those contractions you have before. Most women go to the hospital and they're like, nope, go back home. We'll see you in a few days. And it's almost like that. Like even now, I'm still getting very emotional. And I know I should see it as, yay, that's a success. That shows me that he's going to go in the world and make it. And the same with her. They have this go-getter attitude, this drive to want to do things that most kids that I meet in this country don't. They want to stay at home. They don't want to work. They don't want to apply themselves. They don't want to see what they're capable of. They don't want to challenge themselves, And mine do. And I should be celebrating this. But at the same time, like I said, it's almost like a grieving process. But I know that we all have to get out in the world. We all have to experience things that interest us, not what our parents taught us to do or, expressed, oh, you might like that, you know. So if you're going through this feeling of loss, and I think a lot of people are because it's in the air, you know, even the situation going on. More emotions. Situation going on in Maui. There's just a lot right now pertaining to how everything's changing fast. It's a matter of how you're going to cope with it. And, my heart goes out to a lot of people. And it's hard when you're someone who can feel almost like what the world is feeling because it's overwhelming and it starts flowing into your everyday life. And that's where it gets kind of like, I don't know if I can handle this anymore. And if you're going through it, you can handle it. I promise. I was told the other day, or reminded the other day, God never gives you more than you can handle. And I laughed at the time and I was like, I don't know if I believe that anymore. But I made it another day, and I made it another week, and I made it another month, and it was like, well, I mean, what we go through does empower us and strengthen us. It helps us find that courage deep within ourselves. It helps us to remember what it is that we want. It helps us remember what it is we're working for. And if you have kids, I know somebody who hasn't seen their kids in a while, and he's having a really hard time with it, and I get it. We want to be close to the ones that are a part of us, the ones that we helped create, and there's just things right now that are keeping that from happening. But like I had to remind him, if you'll focus on them, not in the fact that you miss them, but as in the drive that you want to see them, that will help you get back to that. This is what I'm working for. This is what I'm working for. And you build that stamina back up, and then you start changing your attitude. And instead of being upset, it's like, okay, I can start marking the days. Now I can start planning. When will I see them? And it's hard when we have to go through life not seeing our loved ones. I remember missing my family so much when I wasn't here. And part of me had to be convinced that I didn't like them, that they had hurt me. And a lot of that had to do with being with somebody that changed the way I thought, changed my memories about a lot of things. And when I came home, there was so much regret, all the time that was lost, all the hate I had let build up in my heart because of somebody else, and I can't get that time back, but I can embrace the moments I have now. And it's also the same that I'm seeing with my son and my daughter. I can't change the past, but I can take today and say, you know what? It can get better. It's going to get better. They're going to excel in life because they're ready for it. And only person that's not ready is me. But I've had to learn no time better than the present, right? So we do have to learn to let go. And we do have to learn to forgive, especially ourselves, because a lot of us seem to forget we thought we were big and bad way before we were ready to be. And there are times when the choices we made when we were young and arrogant and naive pushed into them or chose to make them. They have kind of molded us into who we are now. And you can't regret any of that. Your choices do not define you. They have helped you become who you are, but you can always make a new choice. Just don't forget that you're not exactly who you came from. You have grown. You have learned to crawl and walk and run to becoming who you are now. And if things are good for you, appreciate them. If they're bad for you, pray. But know that it all fluctuates. Nothing is constant. And I even had to remind the friend that hasn't seen their kids, I've always taught my kids even a year is temporary. So hold on. They're not going to turn into adults before you see them again. Things will work out. It's just a matter of drive and dedication, what you're willing to do to get things back in order in your life. Because we all go through chaos and storms. That's what makes us grow as individuals. If you're not going through storms and chaos, then you might not be growing on a spiritual level. So I don't know if I just rambled a whole lot. No, I had a lot of emotions, ups and downs, but like I said, I was up since 4 this morning, tried to go back to sleep. Just kept having reverberating messages that need to come out. So talk to you later. Love and light. Bye bye.